This episode was brought to you by our sponsors, Barbarian Apparel, and Above and Beyond Wash and Seal. For more info on any of these sponsors, please go to the links below. Now please enjoy this episode.
What's up, StaleMates? Welcome back to another episode of StaleMates. We are coming off of StaleMates Street League 1. We are recording this on a Tuesday evening. Gave ourselves a little bit of a break. When did we start planning this? 2 months ago?
Yeah, maybe a little over 2 months ago.
Yeah, something like that. It's been pretty stressful and pretty crazy, but now that the dust has settled, shall we say, I feel like it's time to talk about everything that kind of went on and kind of the highs and lows of doing the event. It feels sweet that we crushed all the goals that we wanted to do. And I think all things considered, everything went pretty according to plan, except for the whole Pat Downey thing that happened. But that was something that was always kind of in the back of our minds.
Yeah,
lingering, you know, was he going to show? Was he going to not? I thought he would. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But as far as the ticket sales sold out, the Patreon, we got pretty close to our first initial goal we beat right away. And then the next goal was like our projection, and we hit that, doubled that. And then the third goal was like, well, if we hit this is like really what we want to do. And we got pretty close. So as far as all that goes, it was a success in my opinion.
Definitely. Yeah. Went about as smooth as we could hope for our first event.
Yeah. And we got some stuff like, honestly, as far as like the in-person goes, there's not a ton that I really wanted to improve. And like talking with some people that were there and helpful, and people have opinions that I respect, it was like, you need to run it back and do it the same way, the same place, everything the same. Like,
yeah,
the rule set's pretty much the same. The times and like the time periods of the periods and everything the same. There was really only one match where a guy got like super gassed, but he also, the dude who got super gassed, like came out wearing like
one of the most memorable walkouts.
Yeah, Blake Sorensen. He came out wearing a chain, and like he had a cradle. I don't think he had it locked up, but he had it pretty close and had like the crowd going. So he went for it. I know he was pretty busy with like his work life leading up to it, and so he said he didn't have a ton of time to train. But for the most part, most of the matches were pretty competitive.
Yeah, no, definitely. They were all pretty well matched, and they were all entertaining still.
Yeah, to lead off the card, Garrett Owens and Jake Agnich led off the card. And Jake told me he was going to go for the Spladle, but I mean, we talked about it several times, and you know, there was all kinds of like predictions and stuff that were going around. And when he actually like went for it, I was like, holy crap, you know.
20 seconds in, and it happened so fast too.
I know.
That was smooth.
It went smooth. It went probably, like Garrett told me he wanted to be the underdog, which is funny because now Garrett's like, you got to find me somebody that's more evenly matched. But
yeah,
that was fun. That was fun. It was fun to see. Like Jake had his two wrestlers in the corner. Did you see that?
Right. Yeah.
Roga and Tank Runyon. But the next match was Dylan Cox and Sam White. I was kind of surprised.
I was too.
You know, Sam White was all the rage beforehand, and he showed up. He, you know, unattached. Nobody was with him in his corner. Fellers got upset in his corner, which is cool to see. And Sam went out there and lost. Was it 1-0 or 2-0 with riding time?
2-0 with riding time.
Yeah, but it was a close match, competitive.
Right. No, definitely. It was a close match. I wasn't expecting it to be that low scoring, and then Cox was tough too.
Yeah. And, you know, there was a couple other matches in the night that were close. There was a lot of like the Tanner Werner and Gunnar Wolfensberger match. He went up, like, I didn't get to see a lot of it because I was too busy running back. Like, my whole job or role was to get the next match ready and then tell them when to walk out and all that. And so I didn't get to watch a lot of it. And watching Tanner Werner and Gunnar Wolfensberger, like watching guys like Tanner Werner who lost, but he was going for like a throw,
right?
Slipped out of it, and then Gunnar got control. Like being able to watch that, and then just like Peyton Rice going, like he was getting taken down, or not really getting taken down. Colin Heidemann, shout out. Which a lot of these guys I didn't get to meet too much, which kind of sucks. So I'd like to next time we do this, if they're back on the card or not, be able to actually talk to them a little bit more.
Definitely.
But Colin was in on a single leg, and that clip that we posted went crazy on Instagram. Just freaking like headlocked them or something, threw him straight to his back, pin. Corby's yelling money on the mat. Someone threw money on the mat. Someone actually threw money on the mat.
Do you know who that was?
Yeah, Fellers did.
I figured for some reason.
Would that be sick if that turned into like a tradition? Like if somebody pins somebody, they get to just everybody throws money out there for the person.
I would love that.
Yeah. Probably the most hype match of the night was Mikey England and Jimmy Schuster, which was kind of predicted because if you're going off ticket sales, both of those guys sold the most amount of tickets. Jimmy had like his whole family and the entire Grandview Nation. Yeah. That whole south side of the ballroom.
Grandview.
Was Grandview.
That side. Centerville, this side. Yeah. Supporters.
Exactly. Other than one of the VIP tables was a Centerville table. Other than that, the fact that they both had everybody on their feet, literally everybody in there was on their feet for the most part.
The place was vibrating on the walkouts.
Right. Dude, I had chills. I think I literally walked away and I was like freaking yelled like, let's freaking go. Yeah. That's what we looked for, you know. It's like we want to give these dudes like an opportunity to feel like they're freaking Conor McGregor for the night.
Exactly. That was probably my favorite part was even like the matches below that. A lot of those guys hadn't wrestled in so long, and like people like Gunnar Wolfensberger and Peyton Rice, you could tell they were genuinely excited after their wins and their emotions.
I think that's the thing with wrestling is like we like don't ever give people like glory unless like you make the finals of a huge major tournament, you know, like you never get walkout songs. You never get any of that.
You win. It's stoic. Just walk back to center, shake hands
and leave. Like, so to me, that's not what Stalemate Street League is. Like if you want, like a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to model with Stalemate Street League and what, you know, I think the end goal is to be like the UFC, where you watch the UFC, the first match of the night, the prelims, it could be your first fight in the UFC, or it could be your, you're good. It could be shout out to the cleaning crew. It could be the first match of the night, or it could be the last match of the night.
Right.
For the UFC, it could be a prelim or a title shot or whatever. Every single guy gets a walkout, and they get to walk out there with their coaches behind them. You know, the crowd is there. They're on pay-per-view and all that, and like that's what I want Stalemate Street League to be. Like everybody gets a cool walkout, and I'll let the guys get creative with it. Like Mikey asked, like how you know, he made this his caption, how weird can I get with it? Do whatever you want,
right?
You know, and just having people like Mikey do that, and like hopefully the response that people see, like he walked out with the fireman costume and everything, and got the crowd going. That'll attract more people to do that.
And I think like even the wrestlers in it, they know our brand and know that we're totally game for those type of things, but I think seeing Mikey do that, and especially the response after, kind of like set a standard and made a lot of people realize like, oh, like it can be whatever we want it to be.
It can do whatever you want, and you don't even have to do it. Like if you don't want to do what Mikey's doing, you just want to compete and you want to scrap, then go ahead. You know? Obviously, we're gonna try to keep around the guys that we think fit what we're doing and the guys that enjoy it. You know, I think there were some guys that were doing it. You know. You haven't seen the post-match interviews that our camera crew did. Yeah. I've gone through them, and almost all of them said, yeah, I'll do it again. And I don't think I was mostly worried that some of the guys wouldn't understand like our vision of what we were doing, and they were going to be like, oh man, what did I sign up for? This is not a good look for me or anything like that. But like none of them did. And I think most of them are pretty well versed on what we were going for. And most of them like delivered in one way or another. Like we were seeing with Sorensen, even though he was pretty gassed and tired out, he still came out with the chain. He walked out the Sexy Boy by Shawn Michaels. Like he was having fun with it too. And he was at the after party hanging out. And same with like Mikey and Jimmy, they both knew exactly what we were going for. And then even like the main events, like Willie Miklas came in a 10-hour notice. Willie's not even like a big Stalemates guy. He followed us like a couple days before. But he quickly caught on and like super nice dude. I got to meet him and he was freaking awesome. We can't thank him enough for like for doing it. But he came out in like a cowboy hat and a Punisher shirt.
Yeah, exactly. everyone was game, and everybody, like, it was just cool to see everybody having fun.
Yeah. Colton Mccrystal is actually going to come on the show here shortly. He's going to come on. We're going to talk even more with him about it. But Colton is a guy, and he said this in his post-match interview.
Yeah.
He's like, I've been a StaleMates fan since day one. I've been on the StaleMates train. And so people like Colton, man, like forever appreciative of him. Like he was the first like big name guy to come on and want to do it. And,
Right.
And he was super easy to work with, probably the easiest one to work with. He just had a freaking baby, you know? So, Chris Dardanes was super easy to work with. That match was fun. Like I know Dardanes ended up getting pinned, but for the most of the match, it was like a hard hand fight, and those guys were going after it, you know?
They were aggressive.
Kyvan looked good. Kyvan was, Kyvan delivered on his end of the bargain. His whole team was there. The people that Kyvan brings was awesome. Nate Carr jumping on. I tweeted this. I had no clue Nate Carr was going to do it.
Yeah.
David Carr. So originally it was Matt McDonough. Matt McDonough actually ended up getting COVID, so he had to pull out. And David Carr was on Ian Parker's guest list because that was his training partner coach. And I was like, David, do you want to like call some matches? I was just thinking like just jump on the broadcast a little bit, call some matches, and then whenever it's time for him to go coach, he would go coach. And I just thought after that, Ryan Warner and Corby would take care of it. Well, all of a sudden, someone comes over and they're like, dude, Nate Carr's on the call. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And just being able to go back and listen to it, it's freaking sweet. So, like, think about this. You're just a wrestler who hasn't wrestled in a long time, and you decide to do this exhibition match.
Yep.
And then you get to hear one of the greatest wrestlers ever, Iowa State royalty, get to come on and talk about you wrestling,
analyze your
wrestling, critique your match. Like being able to listen to that, to me, is exactly what we're going for. And I'm sure Nate Carr had nothing. He had probably no clue about StaleMates or had no idea what was going on. He was just sitting there. I think David said, hey, you should go do this while I'm gone. Jumped up and did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just looked over and I was like, oh my gosh, how is this happening? How is this all coming together like this?
Everything came together, how we wanted it to. So,
yeah.
Looks like Colton Mccrystal has joined our show. Let's try to jump him in here. This is like the first time that we've done it like this, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Colton Mccrystal has joined us here. He is coming off a fresh victory at StaleMates Street League, the inaugural StaleMates Street League. It is now Tuesday, and 3 or 4 days after competition. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm good. I mean, yeah, I only wrestled 4 minutes, so yeah, it wasn't too bad, really.
Yeah. What was the reception from your friends and family that were able to tune in? What did they think about the event overall?
They loved it. Yeah, I've had different people every day hit me up and tell me it was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, everyone loved it. And crazy thing is my wife was gonna come, and she was gonna bring our 3-week-old.
Oh yeah.
And kind of last minute we were like, maybe not. Yeah, she would have been drenched in beer.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we had people reach out leading up to it, like, can I bring my kid and everything? And I was just kind of like, I didn't really think about that because I don't have kids, so it's something that would have never crossed my radar. And I was just like, well, I mean, I think so. I mean, it's just up to you guys. I'm not, swim at your own risk if you want to bring your kid. But let's talk about your match a little bit. I think I told you this in the locker room afterwards. A lot of people did pick Dardanes, and you came out and you looked freaking good. I will say there were people that were picking you, but you came out and you pinned him. And, I'm talking to people afterwards. I'm like, who looked the most impressive tonight? A lot of people said performance-wise, you looked the most impressive. Was the result shocking to you?
Yeah, maybe the way it happened. I was ready for a freaking barn burner. I know that he's a guy who just gets you dog ass tired, and then opens up on you. And I just said, I didn't really give him a chance to do that. I really expected kind of a shootout. I thought, I wasn't going to try to ride him. I didn't think he'd try to ride me. So I was thinking even going into that third period, if I would have scored some backs, like I thought it was going to open up on both ends. I was definitely getting tired. He was getting tired. But I thought it was going to start to go a little crazy, but I squeezed him pretty tight. And I guess it just 1 second left, I think, in the second, and put him away.
Yeah, it was 1 second left. I didn't realize that until I had went back and watched it. But as far as like the crowd and atmosphere goes, what did it remind you of anything, or what did it feel like, or what was it like wrestling in front of? Because there was a lot of people in a small room, so we weren't breaking attendance records as far as like wrestling events goes, but as far as like that ballroom goes, there was a lot of people in there. And what's funny is if you watch the stream, the back few rows were empty, and that's not because people didn't show up; it's because everybody crowded the mat. So what did it feel like having that intimate atmosphere?
It was awesome. I can't even really like relate it to much. I've wrestled in some big venues, but some rowdy venues. Like, I never wrestled in West Gym. I think maybe it's like a West Gym with beer. Like people right on top of you.
Right.
It was sweet. And like you could, or neither of us were really like a hometown guy. So, like the Grandview guys weren't really crazy for our match or anything. All I remember is freaking Fellers. Yeah. Fellers just going into the second period, I choose down. Fellers is just coaching up Dardanes, and he's yelling, "Bulldog him! Bulldog him!" I'm trying to figure out what the hell a bulldog is. Yeah. As I'm getting ready. And
what does that mean? Have you figured that out?
I don't know. I have no idea. He didn't bulldog me. I don't think so.
What's funny is Fellers, we've been recording a little bit before this show, but Fellers keeps getting brought up because two reasons. So one, Peyton Rice's match after he got the pin, Corby was like, "There's money on the mat. Someone threw money on the mat." Fellers is the one, I believe, who threw the money out. And then also when the refs came back, they both came back to the locker room, and they were like both looking at each other like, "What the heck just went on out there?" They're both excited. But I asked Bill Reed, one of the officials. He's from Fort Dodge, where Fellers is also from, and he was like, "Do you know who Adam Fellers is?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Man, he was on me the whole night, So, but when you're in that intimate atmosphere, you can definitely hear everything that's going on, One thing I was kind of laughing about is like, I feel like every time I looked out in the crowd, you were out in the crowd kind of enjoying it as a fan. Was that what you were doing, or were you just trying to?
I had to. And I've always been like that, even if like, teammates or anything, but especially this event, I had to be out there.
Yeah. And you brought a little,
and I still missed some.
I know, I did too. Have you got to watch the stream back yet or no?
Yeah. I watched it back right away.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've watched it a couple of times myself. You brought a whole crew with you. Who was with you? I know you told me, but.
Yeah. So I had Jonah Egley in my corner as my coach. He's actually going to be on staff with us this year.
Cool.
And then the other three guys, we had Evan Shell. He's our 25-pounder. Noah Stiskel's our 41. And then John Diener's our All-American at 149. So, yeah, they're kind of, the guys I spend a lot of time around, have all summer. Glad they could come and enjoy it. I love involving them. This is the second event I've taken this year. I did that Wisconsin RTC thing. And so I just like involving those guys in, preparations for my own stuff. Cause even, I take this serious, I'm going to train. I'm not going to go out there and look like a bum. So, I grab those guys and get in the room and train for it. And, just kind of show them what I do to prepare at least.
What was their reaction to your match?
I don't know. There was a photographer that put out their smug mug, and you can see the, as it evolves. I'm in that single leg, then I go to the waist, then I lock my hands, and then I pull them across my chest. And Evan Shell, each picture, he goes from sitting to higher, and then he gets down low, and at the very end, he's laying on the ground, slapped in the mat.
And he was.
I'm gonna have to get some of those pictures. Those were awesome.
Yeah, was he?
Yeah, they're pumped up.
Okay, was he in your corner? Or was he in the crowd?
He's in the crowd.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So, was there a lot of familiar faces for you at this event? I mean, you're an Iowa guy, but I've always felt like Western Iowa was a little bit its own island. Did you recognize a lot of the other guys there? Obviously, it was kind of around your age, so I'm sure you did.
Yeah, quite a few. I mean, a ton actually. Bunch of history. It was fun for me because there's so many guys in my era that were there. Like Even like a Wolfensberger and Werner match. Like I wrestled Werner in college once, and Wolfenberger, when that year the Denver just freaking stomped on everybody at state tournament. I was one of the guys that got stomped on, and that he won it that year. And freaking Mikey England is that dude's something else. I don't know him that well, but he was awesome. Yeah, and I didn't know that. So he fights, right? Yep. And so I didn't know that going into it. And I was standing there and I watched the whole match, and he's killing it. Like, he looks in great shape. He's wrestling awesome. And I'm like, what the heck does this guy do? What kind of fires does this guy fight to be able to wrestle like that? Yeah. Like, he was killing it.
Yeah, that's Mikey. So he's my cousin. I'm sure you know that by now, but
I heard that.
I mean, when we were trying to put this card together, like, he, to me, is like, he's the biggest name that I knew personally. Yeah. And then we started doing StaleMates, so things got, a little bit different. But like, you were the first one to really reach out. That was a big name that reached out like through Twitter and whatnot. I know you'd followed us, and I know who you are. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 26. I think I graduated in 13.
So same. So we're the same age. Yeah. And so I remember watching you. You were a lot better than me. And so when you followed us, I was like, oh, that's freaking sweet. And then you're like, hey, I'll wrestle on this thing. And I'm like, no freaking way. And then the original thing was going to have like you and Mikey were going to be like kind of our lead guys. And then I've told this story before, how the Dardanes match came for you, because you're originally going to wrestle Connor LaPrezi from Cornell. And he's kind of going through like a career change. And I kind of got the vibe that he was maybe not in the right. It was just, the timing was weird because he's going through career changes and stuff. And you're already on the card. And I'm thinking, like, nobody wanted to take the Dardanes match because there's people who were on the card that was like, they're like, hey, they're already on the card, agreed to it. And then I went to them and I was like, hey, how about Chris Dardanes? They're like, nah, I can't do it. And so you were already there. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you guys are around the same weight? And so it was like, I asked you and your response was, oh, heck yeah. And then I asked Dardanes, and he was like, no matter what I said, I could have said the whole thing. He would have been like, yeah, I don't care. Like, he was fine. He was fine no matter who it was. And then both of you guys like didn't care about weight. The easiest thing we had to do was deal with both of you guys. So, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as the other matches go, was there any of them that were a surprise?
Surprise? I mean, I guess Gunner looked freaking good.
Yeah,
I don't know what Werner does now, but he's not that long out of college. And Gunner's on staff at Simpson, right?
I think so. He's still in the coaching realm, but
okay.
He looked good. And he's light too, by the way. He weighed in light. He was originally supposed to wrestle Gustavo, and Gustavo's a little chunky nowadays. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that video, but he's got a little, you know what I'm saying, on him. And Gustavo was like weighing 175. He's like, dude, can I just weigh in 175? Do I really have to get to 170? And so I'm like, well, let me text Gunner. I text Gunner. Gunner's like, well, I weigh 162. So I called Gunner. I called Gustavo. I'm like, dude, get your ass down to 170 because he's already given up 8 pounds. It doesn't need to be 13 or whatever. But no, I think for the most part, I will say, Tanner Werner took that match on a pretty late notice.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't get nearly as long as Gunner did. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But he went upper body right away and almost had him in some trouble early. And that was right on the edge where the Grandview people were. That would have been exciting.
Yeah, that would be big time. Yeah. That one was good. Yeah. Like I said, Mikey looked good. I knew Agnish was going to freaking tear it up.
Yeah.
He was slow playing it. He's the first guy I saw when I walked in. And he's like, oh man, not really feeling up to this. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I knew he'd kill it.
Yeah, that's he's all talk.
Yeah, that was him. I feel like he was
doing that for months leading up to it.
Yeah, but I think he liked it. We're actually talking about maybe getting him and Dylan Cox to wrestle each other.
Ooh,
that's a decent one.
Good.
Because Dylan was 33 and then Agnich was 45, but Agnich weighed in at 40. So yeah, I feel like if they wrestled at 40, it'd be entertaining. And Dylan Cox looked for good. He's kind of from your neck of the woods, right?
No, so he's Atlantic, right?
Isn't Atlantic over in Western Iowa or no?
No, Atlantic's closer to
Des Moines.
Des Moines, right?
Oh,
okay.
okay. I didn't know that.
I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I have no clue, dude. I don't go west of Waukee, so
closest guys. So like Jake Neiman.
yeah, is he over
Neiman
there?
Yeah, so he's like we used to go to their tournament every year. He's way younger, but and then Peyton Rice, like we used to go to the same tournament every year. He kind of stole my thunder. He had that sick throw with good pin. So
I know he looked good, man. He looked good. What's funny is afterwards, like we interviewed him, we're like, would you come back? And he's like, oh, and then his brother got in the camera. He's like, oh, he's coming back. So people were pumped. You see a match like that, you see a good performance like that. We got to get guys like that back, you know. And he freaking went for it. Dylan Coxell looked good. I think everybody had Sam White picked. And honestly, at some point I was like, I remember saying like, I feel bad for Dylan Cox because we didn't know how good Sam White was. Well, Dylan Cox was in freaking good shape and
yeah, it was.
Sam White never really opened up to the point he maybe could have, but Sam White wants to come back and Dylan Cox wants to come back. So be interesting.
Yeah.
How's the dad life going?
It's good. It's good. Yeah, luckily last Thursday night, my wife took over for me so I could get some good rest. But
nice, got a night off. Then did you sleep well?
Yeah, it was good. And she was up for me when I got home on Friday too. So that was
nice.
Perfect.
You went home that night then, huh?
Yeah, we drove back. Just because. Yeah, basically just because left my wife at home with the baby.
Yep.
And yeah, long night, but it was worth it.
Okay, good here.
Would
you come back, by the way?
Oh, for sure.
All right, you would do it again? Did you like the rules?
I did. I was nervous about the small high school mat.
Yeah.
With the step outs. Like I was thinking like, dang, by the time they get to these big guys, like they're going to be stepping out every action.
There really wasn't a lot though.
No, never happened. Like
there really wasn't a lot, and I thought they called it right for the most part. If you go back and watch some of the matches, I can't remember what it was, but there was one where a guy like kind of cut him on the edge and is like, is that a push out or not? And they didn't call it, which I like that. It should be a little bit of a judgment thing. The most controversial call was Mikey England's takedown against Jimmy. Did you get to watch that yet?
Yeah. So it's like neutral danger zone.
Yes. What do you think of that?
That's the rules.
Yeah.
Like that if that was a college match, that would have been called.
Yeah, and so I think that was the biggest misconception is people thought it was called as like a traditional takedown, but that wasn't the case. Where we probably messed up was not maybe alerting people that it's modern college rules. So like if you think about it, Mikey and Jimmy were both gone by the time that rule came into effect.
Yeah. For sure.
So neither one of them, like Mikey wasn't aware he got two either because he was still holding on to that leg. Well, he should have really got called for stalling because if you hold on a leg for 5 seconds after you have control, it's a stall, right?
Which that rule wasn't in play either. So those guys would have had no idea what the hell was going on.
So neither one of them did. That's why they're both holding on to each other's ankles forever. And it was like, no, the two's already been given up because of the danger then. But I guess what I didn't realize at the time, and I'm not a big rule book guy, was that if you get the danger call too, that it's actually like a takedown and not just 2 points, you know? Like you are now on top and you're collecting riding time. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
And you can get back points really quick right after that. I mean,
right.
If a guy doesn't recover, you just freaking he's in like the dang walls of Jericho there.
Yeah,
get some back points quick, and no one's gonna even know it.
Yeah. What's funny is Nick Mitchell was actually in the crowd as a spectator. I don't think he cornered anybody the whole night. Most people had their buddies or their kids or whatever, or their dad or someone close to them coaching them. And Nick Mitchell was in the crowd. He got up and went over to the score table and was like trying to argue the call. Like to me, that shows.
I didn't catch that.
That's freaking sweet that Mitchell did that. That shows like Jimmy hasn't wrestled at Grandview in 5 years or so, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And his coach has still got his back for him like that. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
What's next? What's the?
I mean, we got to roll. We want to do it again, and I think the more we do it, the easier it's going to be because now we know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to be the more you do it, I think the faster and the less stressful it'll be. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a whole new set of problems that we'll come up with, but I was already texting people and DMing people trying to, get some feelers out. Like, hey, what about this? Like, we're thinking about October 30th.
Should work for me.
Let's go. Let's go. I already,
it should work.
I've thrown your name around the hat a little bit. I'll say this, and I'll bleep it out if this doesn't go well. Brandon Wright, maybe. I've not talked to him, but Brandon Wright.
I owe him.
Yeah.
I owe him. Yeah, he got me. My redshirt year of college, I was beating him the whole freaking match. And he's an old guy. I was a young guy. Nickel and dime me at the end and freaking got me. Yeah. Got me in like the last 2 seconds of the match. Took me down for the win. So
there's him, and then there was somebody else on the card that I was thinking about that would have been good. I can't remember. But you're like, what is it, 150 that you want to wrestle around like nowadays?
50, 55, whatever. I mean,
did you cut it off for this?
I went in like 3 weeks ago and I weighed like 60.
No way.
I mean, that's, not really cutting, but
yeah.
I usually walk around at like 55. Just, late night snack and feed the baby, feed myself.
Because I remember when we were setting up your weight, we were talking to Dardanes, and I think either you said 50 and he said 55, and then I asked you guys both, or maybe he said 55 and he said 50. I can't remember, but you guys are both around the same weight. And I remember asking you guys, you guys were like, I don't care. And I was like, what do you guys prefer? And then you guys both said the opposite weight. And I was like, well, how about this? I mean, what was it, 50 or 55?
We did 55.
Yeah, I think I just went with the heavier option, but
yeah.
No,
that's it. When I showed up to weigh-ins, Corby said, he's like, yeah, Dardanes is already here. He said he doesn't give a shit if you make weight or not. We're wrestling the match. So
that was my biggest fear was somebody not making weight and then the other guy being like, no, and then his family's like sitting out there. You know what I mean? But I think everybody made weight. Garrett Owens was the only one who cut a lot of weight. He cut like 20 pounds to wrestle Agnich.
He missed it. He missed it by 4/10.
Well, when he got there, he was like, oh, I'm 6/10. I'll get it down. And I told him, I was like, hey, because I had already talked to Jake, and Jake was like, I don't care what he weighs. Just like, as long as he's within reason. And so I was like, hey, you're within, 6/10.
Less than a pound. You're okay.
Jake said it was cool. But I think it was all good for the most part. I think I'm just trying to decide if we should change the rule set or not, because I like the time periods. I thought the 1-2-2 was good. Did you think it was good for the undercard guys? I know you were 2-2-2.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, those guys that don't, if you're not wrestling that much, like 2-2-2 by the time, I mean, if you go 2-2-2, that like 5th and 6th minute, the product is just gonna crash. Those guys are gonna be so dead by the third period. At least like, a couple of matches, there was like one long scramble in the first period and then it was over.
Right.
So they kind of got to reset, catch their breath and get after it again. So
somebody said,
if you get more, more recent wrestlers, I guess, guys just getting out of college or just getting out of training. Yeah. You could probably wrestle whatever, but some of these guys are, fresh off the couch.
Yeah.
haven't laced them up for a while. So
yeah. I'm trying to think like our ideal market for wrestlers. Like I wanted it to be like all across the board. So you have guys like Kyvan and Pat who are still like doing this like for a living. And then, And then you guys, I also thought it'd be fun if we had guys like that high and then we had two guys who've never wrestled before, if we had all that. But the more that we did this, the more studs that we got. And at the beginning, I kept calling it like a rough and rowdy type thing. But then the more people came out of the woodwork to do this, I'm like, these guys were pretty good. So, I do want to make it legitimate, and I do want people like yourself, like, that are freaking high quality guys to have somewhere to go. And like, my opinion is if the MMA world can have, in the jiu-jitsu world can have guys go and fist fight each other, a few times a year at these local circuits, why can't wrestlers go out and be like, hey, I'm a coach and like, I don't really compete anymore. I'm not going to go try to sign up for the US Open or anything like that, or I'm not going to try to do that, but I like to compete and have fun and, entertain. This is an outlet for them. And hopefully we can take it different places. And I think for now, I think Des Moines good. I mean, it's kind of the center. And what's crazy about Des Moines is it always gets overlooked because everybody goes to like Iowa City or, Ames and stuff like that. But I think, I think we're just trying to find the right guys who are down to do it.
No, I don't think you could find that many people in another area to fill in on that quick of notice too.
Oh yeah, the fact that Willie Nicholas just had to be there, right?
Yeah.
And then also Ty Noller filling in for Dakota Freese like
2 days before. Yeah.
2 days before, like having Grandview here was like the best thing for us, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they were the rowdies, right? All their matches were crazy.
I know.
Fans were going wild. Guys just freaking putting Blake Sorensen into the dirt. Fans going crazy.
Yeah.
Yelling, put him in a body bag. And wow.
Yeah, I thought it was good. So when's the season start and everything? We should come out there. Where is Morningside, by the way?
Morningside's in Sioux City.
Sioux City, okay.
Yeah, well, not too far. Yeah, we'll get things kicked off. Guys move in next week. School starts next week, and then season really won't get kicked off until first competition is going to be like mid-November.
Okay. Looking good or what? The squad going to be deep?
Yeah, I think so. So last year was my first year here.
Okay.
I just came in at the right time. Like, we got some good guys. I got some good guys. I say that, but we only had one All-American last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna be picking it up. I think we got some good guys coming in. We got some guys kind of figuring it out.
You guys go to any big Division I opens at all? I see you guys at the Hare Nichols or anything.
Probably not. Yeah, we don't have any of those really scheduled. Like we're gonna go to Kearney this year. But as far as Division I opens, probably not, because that's like we probably won't even compete by the time Harold Nichols happens.
You're right.
I don't think. I don't know what the dates are, but it'll be close to that.
Are you worried about COVID or anything like that? Is the school's been talking about anything?
Can't control it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't get paid to worry about it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's whatever happens. Like, the NAI was crazy last year that we still wrestled like 30-some matches.
Yeah. They
like,
do their own thing.
Going,
I love the NAIA because they just do what they want to do. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like, there's no recruiting guidelines. There's no this, there's no that. You're good. So we were just kind of like, doing our thing. We just didn't wrestle anybody but NAIA competition.
Yeah.
Which was different, but not a bad thing. And so, yeah, it might happen, it might not. I don't know. I mean, they even in 2020, they even got their national tournament.
Right.
They're the only division that got to wrestle the national tournament. So that, yeah, I think a lot would have to happen to cancel the season or the national tournament. So,
well, I mess with the NAIA, man. They're freaking passionate, and you get to see guys like Andrew Long come out of the woodworks and wrestle. You get to see guys like Ben Provisor come back and wrestle, which he was in the building. That was freaking cool to see.
Yeah, he was. He's in the corner for someone.
Yeah, he was. He was
a couple times.
Yeah, and he hung out quite a bit. Talked to him a little bit at the after party, and maybe we get him a match out there. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, dang.
There's someone requested Andrew Long for a match.
Yeah, somebody did. Good. I mean, I'd be down I don't know
if we can locate him.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. It was pretty stressful dealing with the whole PD3 thing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
How did you find out that he wasn't gonna be on? Just our social or someone get?
Yeah, I just saw it tweeted out. I saw it blow up. And Pat, I went to school with Pat for, it was like a summer and a semester. But yeah, I was telling Tyler after the event, we were both freshmen together.
Yeah.
And I had just turned 18, like the week before school started, and he was 21. Yeah. And so, yeah, I learned some lessons from Pat Downey.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I wish you would have. I wish you would have made it happen.
I know.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see the match, and I mean, he's an interesting guy. He would have been win or lose. He would have. Yeah, he would have had the crowd into it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even dog him too much. I mean, obviously it sucks and like it's not how I would do business, but at the end of the day, like we did that interview with him and I was saying like Flo should have expected him to say, he's going to say wild stuff. That's the whole reason why you have him on his card, because he does wild stuff and that gets him attention. And we got to play by those same rules. Like Pat does wild stuff and not showing up is a wild thing to do. Obviously I wish it would have went down a little bit differently. But I don't have any like ill will towards him. We talked a little bit on the show today before you got on here. We didn't talk about that, but I said I would talk about it a little bit. I'll clear up a little bit of the rumors here. One, we did not pay him yet because that was part of the contract. Two, we will not be suing him.
Yeah, I don't know where that was coming from.
Well, people were like, "Oh, they should." This like it made the forums, and people are like, "You should sue him." It literally would be a waste of our time to sue him.
Yeah.
And I'm not really that diabolical or mean of a person to do that. Clearly,
Get Karen.
yeah, get Karen for fun to do it. No, we're not gonna sue him, but. The only thing that we were out was the flight costs, but I would say the trade-off for the promo that we got from it was probably worth it,
Oh, yeah.
In terms of like stress and stuff, was it worth it? It did add a lot of stress just from the beginning to the end, and like there was people that didn't like that we were going to have him on, but we were looking to get a lot of attention for our first event. Now going forward, would we have Pat on there again? Probably not. Like I'd say that bridge is probably burned with us. But I don't have any sort of like ill will towards him. I hope he finds whatever he's looking for. I know he tweeted the other day he's trying to find a way. Whatever happens,
keep swinging and
Yeah.
He's made for Florida, man. He's made for Florida.
He's made for Florida. I thought he was made for StaleMates Street League, but apparently the Spirit Airlines had something to do with it. So I don't know. But anyways, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'll be getting a hold of your agent sometime soon. All right.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, maybe I should actually get your number at some point. I don't even have either of your numbers.
Yeah, I'll message you. I'll message you my number, and we'll be in touch. You never turned down an opponent, by the way. Any name I threw out it was up. It was cool. Whatever.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Whoever you got.
You could be our you could be our Nate Diaz. You know what I'm saying? Anytime, any place.
Yeah, maybe the next one was do a mini bracket.
I thought about that. And like the winner gets a good prize. Honestly, that's a good idea. Maybe we'll do that. 150 pound challenge. But appreciate you, Colton, for coming on, my man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for competing, and you look good.
Thanks.
I think that was good. It's good to hear from the athletes a little bit.
Yeah, right. I mean, even after they were all tweeting and, that was so fun. When we doing it again, it was all positive.
Yeah, I think most of the guys would, would come back. The only people who weren't were like, yeah, I'm just way out of shape. Nobody said they wouldn't come back because they didn't like the vibe or the atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. The people who said they wouldn't wrestle said they'd coach.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm trying to think if there's anything that we missed on. I've just talked about it so much. I had like not nine. I had like probably 5 or 6 people that came in the shop today that either went to the event or watched it.
Yeah.
So I've talked about it quite a bit today. So I'm just hoping I'm not leaving anything out. But
right. Shout out Oldest Greatest for wrestling.
Shout out Oldest and Greatest, came all the way from Michigan. That match was actually, for some reason I thought he got whooped, and then I went back and watched it.
He was wrestling hard to get back.
Jake Neiman got gassed a little bit.
Yeah, he got those back points at the beginning that really helped him out.
Yeah, he took him down, took him straight back. We got to get Jake another match.
Yeah.
Some UNI wrestlers sent me a picture.
They're
of
hungry now?
No, they found Jake that night or the next night partying, and they're like, they took pictures, and they're like, pictures with the champ. It was awesome.
That's amazing.
I was like, let's go. Like, if our guys are out there getting freaking recognized, I mean, they probably already knew each other because Jake was a good wrestler in high school. But it was just like, and Jake was wearing the StaleMates hat and stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, and it was super fun. I thought it was really cool to see people out in the crowd wearing StaleMates gear.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
To the event.
Especially like something about little kids wearing them is like,
like
just seeing like like little 8-year-old like walking around repping the brand.
And like people love the Van shirt and stuff like that, but there's people wearing like the OG gray StaleMates hat and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw people walking in wearing the OG, the white shirt with the StaleMates.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Man, that was sick.
It was super cool.
Also, shout out to Josh at Barbarian Apparel. He was there the whole freaking weekend and killed it. Shout out to Ryan Warner and Corby for also killing it. All those people came from different states, so without them, we might not be able to have them every single time, but we're gonna do our best, and we'll find. We always have people that are helping us, and it's freaking awesome. Couldn't do it without them. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for Colton for coming on the show. Thank you for all the StaleMates athletes for competing hard. Subscribe to our Patreon, $3.99 a month, and we can keep doing these things. Stay subscribed, and we can keep doing these things. We're gonna try to turn around and do this thing fast. We're talking about doing it Halloween weekend. We'll see. That might be kind of quick. See if my wife will tolerate it. But anything you want to say to the people?
No, I mean that's kind of how the last one started off for us. We were like, this will probably be coming up soon. And
Let's just do it.
Sure enough. So StaleMates too soon.
Peace, guys.